Have a cup of tea. It'll make you feel much better.
I've already had a couple today, so try not to overdo it.
Cool. You can't overdo tea. You can't get addicted to tea.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Hello, I'm Thomas.
And
That's Adam, and this
no,
is I don't even know the podcast. This is number 9, I think,
number 9, yeah.
nearing double digits here. So, as you can tell, we're over Zoom today. Um, I'm actually under the weather myself right now with a low fever, so not feeling super hot. Was pretty much bedridden yesterday. Feeling a little bit better today, but still not feeling great. And Adam is just lazy. Who knows else? Just kidding. He's at work still. We probably should
Yeah.
say we.
I mean, the podcast studio usually is there, and now I'm here. You have my podcastery microphone here to make it. Oh my God. So I don't know. Also, don't know how this is going to sound or look. This could be really bad.
Like 2019, 2020 all over again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cool. What do you want to talk
so
about?
the plan is to talk D4, the World Cup, a little bit of a roundup of that, and then looking forward to the Guinness tour here in about a week or so, or a week and a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 days from when we're recording this, but yeah, cool.
So
So,
the
annoyingly, D4 are out.
Mhm.
So had a good run. Good couple of good win at home a couple of weeks ago, and then this weekend or last weekend, just obviously couldn't see Finley away. Second time in the whole season that we had to play them. So disappointing, but I think good run while it lasted. Yeah, we got some.
they played very well in all the games that we got to see them play in. It's a good mix of young and new, as well as older, experienced guys, and every combination of that there is. Both games against Finley were very close. The first game around, I know they said they were ahead for the first half, and Finley clawed back ahead in the second half. And this most recent game, looks like Finley always kind of just held very close, but held ahead the whole time. But it was it was a really big season for the D4 team. That was a team that started last year, and a lot of teams forfeited. We had to forfeit some games as well, just for traveling issues. So this was a really big deal this year. Having the D3 and D4 teams play on the same day in separate locations was a huge deal, and obviously they made it further than the D3 team did. So a lot to celebrate there.
Yeah, I think there was also some. For the games I saw of the D4 um, games, we had some great players and some great kind of prospects, I guess, for making D43 selection next year a lot harder. It's good to see some old boys come back and some guys who are relatively new to the sport putting on a shirt and being able to like compete in the team, which is really cool. I think it's also good to see a second team still getting a full 23, 22, 23 guys turning up for it. I know training's particularly difficult to get numbers, but I do think it's awesome to see a Saturday when you have a full roster and you get a full team out, especially traveling away to Finley, which is, I mean, it's not that far, but it's still an away game, right? So yeah.
And then the World Cup winners were South Africa, which I know all watched together and were very frustrated by that. Not to say they weren't deserving winners. I think that a lot of people pointed at the TMO and the refereeing for a lot of that, but at the end of the day, there were a couple missed conversions from Jordy Barrett, among others, and some choices to kick to the corner where they could have kicked for points, and vice versa. Obviously, 2 cards in a final, which broke the record of having only 1 card in a final. Sam Cane also got the first only red card ever in a Rugby World Cup final as well. So um, it was interesting to see it because South Africa's game plan was just to win. Didn't matter how they did it, but they just had to win. The
Yeah, I think
quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals all were only won by 1 point for them. So
yeah, points difference in those 3 games is 3. Ridiculous. I said that. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but when we were talking about it, I was like, South Africa just bring whoever their opposition is down to their level. They New Zealand didn't play New Zealand rugby. They didn't have breakthrough like running through the back line. They didn't pass it out to Will Jordan. He barely saw the ball in the game. It was it was just a I don't know. It wasn't a great game. I do think the refereeing and stuff was felt a little bit one-sided at times. The try that got disallowed that went back 12 phases or something stupid felt ridiculous.
There's also a offsides player that caused Jordy Barrett to get tackled, something like that, or not Jordy Barrett. Rico.
I think on the whole, refereeing, in my opinion, of the whole World Cup wasn't great, and I think part of it was due to the concussion protocol rules and like keeping tackles low and all that kind of stuff, and it just detracted from the game. And up until the final, I thought New Zealand looked incredible. Just out of the final, they didn't look good.
So speaking of refereeing, I'm more so the opposite point of it. Those referees, I think they did a good job. I think there's such a media circus around refereeing that like they're probably scared to blow the whistle half the time because they're worried about getting death threats, their family getting like threats thrown against them.
Yeah, I did see that. Was that Ben O'Keefe?
O'Keefe had a lot of that. I'm sure Wayne Barnes had that just as well. I mean, I would struggle with that, having a whole nation that watches the sport start saying they want to kill your whole family next time you're there. Obviously, I wouldn't. I would think twice about making a decision.
That's not rugby though. Like rugby's about inclusion and playing as a team, and like it's a bloody tough game when you're on the field, and then you just go and have a pint with everyone, your best mates afterwards. So that to me is not rugby. I think it's disappointing, but I think as soon as money gets involved, as soon as like people's livelihoods and things, and then quote unquote passion for the right or wrong reasons, things escalate. But I mean, we see it on the D3 field. Like there's fights and things. There's no death threats, obviously, well, hopefully, but it's just tough. I think it's a game at the end of the day, and everyone's doing it for fun, and everyone should just enjoy it.
And I agree. And I wanted to jump back to your point about New Zealand and the South African, South Africa being the other team down to their level. I disagree. I think that South Africa is a defense first team. Defense matters more than attack for them as long as they can defend. And that's what they do. They just choke you out and strangle you back the whole way through. I mean, watching the highlights, Peter Sefutoi was man of the match. His whole highlight reel, Eben Etzebeth's whole highlight reel is dominant tackles 20 meters behind the gain line repeatedly for the whole tournament. I mean, the score lines between England. England is another defense first team. You see, they don't even try to score tries. All they do is try to defend until one of the teams commits a penalty, and then they kick a goal and then go back and do the same thing all over again.
Yeah, but so I think Ireland prided themselves on being like the number one defense team in the world. Like Ireland's defense is they're very good at attacking, scoring tries and points, but their defense is usually solid. And then in the game against New Zealand, they just came completely unstuck. So
I'm not saying that New Zealand's method is bad, not by any means. They obviously won a lot of big games, but I'm saying it's two different styles of rugby. There's defense first in this case versus attack first. And New Zealand, to me, is all about the attack, whereas South Africa, every single player is a jackal threat. Every single player puts in dominant tackles, hits hard, puts people out of bounds with their hits. New Zealand and other teams aren't always like that. They are sometimes, but not always like that. And I think that was the difference in style of play.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a very good World Cup. There was some. I liked that Australia didn't get out of the group. I liked, obviously, Ireland put in a hell of a performance. Ireland did beat South Africa in the group stage. I think had the groups been formulated differently, it would have been a different World Cup. I'm looking forward to what I was going to talk about is the next World Cup. I know we've got 4 years to wait, but they're going to pick the groups a lot later, so they're going to be hopefully quote unquote fair in terms of getting
2026. So they
2027. Oh, they're going to pick the groups in 2026.
Right, okay. They have a plan ahead, but yeah, I think they're
okay. So it's closer than it was this time, and they're also going to, expanding to 4 more teams. So there will be the top 2 from each group that go through, plus I don't know how many, but a number of third place groups go through, like the top ranked ones, which means Australia might stand a chance of going through to the group. Same as Scotland. Like Scotland and Australia should then both get in, and I know Australia was a bit of an anomaly this time, but like teams like Scotland, Japan, like Portugal, should then have a chance of going through. And I'm not saying that they'll then do well and get to any further on, but at least they get that extra playoff game. And I think having more teams in it should be good. I think, the US team should be there.
We may not make it next time, but we'll for sure be there 2031 because we're hosting the damn thing. So
yeah, I mean, there you go. You get in it because you're hosting it, and so that's how South Africa got into the first World Cup, 1995.
Well, England hosted it and got knocked out in the pool stages, so there's no way around that. But I think it'll be really good in the end, and I think this next World Cup cycle, a lot of I think South Africa is going to do some rebuilding. Obviously, they have their average players well in their 30s, which that'll be a big change. You have other teams that are a lot younger. Like I know I talk about, but France, like a lot of their best players are only 24, 25, 26 years old. So a lot of them will be either in their prime or just past it, but still, I'm sure, better than the rest of us playing at the national level. So, England is a relatively younger team, some of that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how things go and how the teams balance their younger and older players. Because it felt like from 2019 to this World Cup, there really wasn't much of a shakeup in the players too much. A player here or there, but a lot of them are relatively the same.
I think the players that are new and that did stand out, Will Jordan, obviously, is new since 2019. I mean, I know he's played 30 games for the All Blacks now, but he didn't play the last World Cup. I'm trying to think.
Taylor, Dane Coles. I think that Tyrell Lomax might have been in that World Cup, maybe as a bench player. You had Nepo Lawala that came, Brody Retallick, Sam Whitelock, Sam Kane. I'm trying to think who else would have been in that World Cup. I mean, obviously,
all Barretts, all of them.
All of the Barretts were there.
Yeah.
So a lot of those players were there and made it to the next. Rico Ioane was there. You look at Ireland, and from the last World Cup to this World Cup, there really wasn't that many players. You really only had Tig Furlong.
No, Mac Hampson and James Lowe didn't play in the last World Cup.
Rose did, but I assume Bunny Aki did.
He did. Johnny Sexton obviously did.
Jameson Gibson Park.
Conor Murray did. Yeah, Peter O'Mahony, obviously, because he's a million years old.
Not retired yet.
No. Bundy Aki's 33. Like, I don't know, 37 next time will be a ripe old age for a centre. It's just whether they can stay. I mean, I know that Johnny Sexton's 38 and stuff. So
if he chooses to follow the Leicester model, he can become a hooker, just like Tom Youngs did.
Yeah, but he did that when he was like 18 or 19 and got like in their academy side. But yeah, I was at a game once. I'll see if I can find it on YouTube and put it in. But like, I was at a game watching Leicester, and Tom Youngs caught an interception on the halfway line, stood out in the centre, and he sprinted in, and the crowd didn't cheer. They all went, "What?" It was just like, ooh. Everyone saw it happen and was like, "What the hell's happening?" It was great. I was also at the game where Chris Ashton and Manu Tuilagi had a fight, and by fight I mean Manu Tuilagi assaulted Chris Ashton. Yeah, that was fun.
But
anyway, should we move on for one last thing that I can do only once more is talk about the fantasy team. So it pains me to say it, but Bert did win. Larry came second, and up until the last round, there was like 80 points, 50 points between the two of them, and then Bert has ended up winning by nearly 200 points. Charlie Deeds is then only 16 points behind behind Larry, and then Ben was 60 or so points behind. So that's the top four. And then there was a big drop off before it became to me, and then all the people, MC, Eli, and Jordan, who didn't update their teams from week one. So I know nothing about rugby apparently, and so I don't know why I even talk about it every week. But yeah, I don't know what the prize is. Everyone owes Bert a beer, unless Bert didn't buy Ben a beer through this whole time, and then everyone owes Bert nothing.
He bought beer. He brought Ben the beer at practice.
But did he though? Because I think he just had. I think he took a beer from someone.
No, he brought it special. He gave it to him.
Okay.
I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I trust Bert on that one.
Okay. Also, he's probably been taking the money from the club and just buying it. So anyway, cool. Do you want to talk about what's happening next weekend?
Yep. So November 11th, which is also Veterans Day, is our It's our Guinness experience of Columbus, as I taglined it, just because the gentleman's Guinness Gallop of Columbus didn't really quite have the
Grand View Guinness.
not only in Grandview, because we're also in Dublin and other areas too. Which
Well, that's because but you ruined it and picked some other places. But
2 Irish pubs in Grandview that we could even go to.
Okay.
So we have to go other places, but right now that'll be starting at 5 o'clock. We'll meet at Woodlands as previously planned. Get food, go over the rules, that kind of stuff, and though it'll be cold, we'll hoof it on to Burns and Ohio Tap Room before we have our designated drivers take us on to the next locations. Which we did put a flyer out, but that order may be subject to change here very soon. We're trying to sort things out so that we can kind of condense it into ideally just one trip in the car, really total. Or just keep it as minimal as possible. So
yeah, it'll be fun. Obviously, it would just be relaxed and stuff. We'll see how many people want to join in, but we'll have a lot of Guinness, and then we'll have some fun along the way. One thing, we did convert Larry to Guinness last week, so I think there's only like 2 or 3 people who refuse to drink Guinness now. So
we had always say that he didn't mind it, so that was also a big win.
Yeah, although I want him to be one of the drivers. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I figured all that.
But if you are willing to drive, let us know. We will financially reimburse you with
absolutely something
gas money.
Yeah,
but yeah, it'll be good fun, and obviously we'll hopefully end up somewhere at the end, and if those we lose along the way, we'll hopefully regroup and we can have a bit of a laugh. But we'll make a special podcast episode as well, hopefully, about that.
Dust off your flat caps.
Oh, I haven't worked out what I'm wearing. Probably just
you've got your fedora behind you, so you've got that all figured out.
Well, I'm not wearing that. Whenever I wear that with my like beard that's just really low, I look Amish, so it's not very Irish. So I'll think of what I can wear. But yeah, should be good fun.
Alrighty, well, we'll plan to see you there. We think, as far as I'm aware, practices are done for the season, so keep an eye out for social events. We still will keep the podcast going for another couple of weeks with some specialty episodes throughout the holidays and some upcoming tournaments, things like that. But until episode 10.
Yeah, if you are around and you do want to play, I think we might organize some like football, or as you say, soccer, and some other team building stuff. But it's always good to kind of hang out and get the boys together. But and I hope you feel better, mate.
Thank you.
Have a cup of tea. Make you feel much better.
I've already had a couple today, so try not to overdo it.
Cool. You can't overdo tea. You can't get addicted to tea.
Says the person from a nation that was so addicted to it, they colonized all of East Asia and Africa and other parts of the world. So I don't know if that's entirely true, but
history, according to Thomas.
It's not independent of this either. America is not innocent. That's not what I'm saying, but
we might be addicted to TV. I think your country's addicted to oil. Never mind. Let's carry on. Let's end this. End it there before this gets really bad.
Until next time, we'll see you next Saturday at 5.
See you later. Bye.